We're speaking with Ripley Atkinson from Meat and Livestock Australia. Welcome to Flow, Ripley.
Hi, Ricky. Thanks for having me.
Okay, well, you had some projections out recently on what the beef herd was looking like. Let's go across to sheep. You've got some new information out about that this week.
Yeah, that's right, Ricky. So in 2022, the MLA is forecasting the national flock to grow by 4.9% or 3.75 million head in 2022 to the largest volume it's been since 2013, and that figure will be 24.4 million head this year.
All right, and that's still, I guess, a very long-term historical trend as far back as records go, at least. We're still some way short of a record size for the herd, but it's a pretty rapid growth and restock.
Yeah, that's definitely right. The growth we saw last year was 10.8% from the 2020 figure to the 2021 figure, and then that growth of 4.9% again this year is really strengthening, particularly New South Wales and Victoria. We're expecting strong results in regards to increasing numbers out of those states and Western Australia as well after a favourable autumn and winter rainfall last year, incentivising those producers to rebuild numbers following some, average to below average seasons.
Are we seeing in those southeastern sale yards of Australia some suppressed numbers coming through as people restock, or is there still a decent amount of trade going on?
So interesting you ask. When we look at this, Ricky, we look at the lamb slaughter volumes, and we're expecting them to grow by 7% this year to 21.6 million head. Now, when you look at yardings volumes at the sale yard level last year, nationally they were up. New South Wales was up by 15% or 640,000 head for lambs, and Victoria was also up by 7% or 178,000 head. So Western Australia, similar situation, up by 5% or 27,000 head. So there's still, in regards to supply terms, plenty of lambs coming through on a year-on-year basis, and we expect that to continue this year moving forwards.
Yeah, it's interesting, just by the by, there's been some advice out on the Eyre Peninsula from the local landscape body regarding baiting, making sure the foxes don't take too many lambs. I imagine that's going to be a problem as everyone's restocking, is making sure the wildlife don't take them away.
Very much so, Ricky. Yeah, particularly, when we look at historical terms, the way the markets have performed, you can understand why producers want to be looking after their stock as they look to rebuild some numbers and push on.
And speaking of numbers, looking across on beef, it was a little short while ago MLA got some projections out there, but briefly, where are you looking at the herd going this next current season?
Yeah, so we're expecting the herd to rise by 4.2% this year, or a growth of 1.1 million head. And those numbers we see in 2022, we expect the herd to reach 27.2 million head. And out to 2023, we expect it to grow by a further 2.7% next year to 27.9 million head. But the caveat with this situation and the national herd is it's going to enter a two-paced environment where the southern states, New South Wales, Victoria, across into parts of South Australia, will be in a more mature stage because of the seasonal conditions they've experienced since, January 2020 when the drought broke. Whereas Queensland, which we know contributes around 45% of the national herd, is at a slower or at a less mature stage due to the seasonal conditions. It hasn't had as favourable conditions as the southern states. The rain was, average to below average in parts over the past couple of years, but certainly sort of from October in 2021 when the season, really improved and parts of Queensland got some fantastic rain, that's incentivised those producers to begin their rebuild. And that's what we mean when we discuss the two-paced environment that the herd rebuild's entering at the moment.
The international demand for the Australian product is still looking pretty strong. There's plenty of upside in that direction for, the current season and exports. Yeah,
you make a very good point, Ricky. That's exactly right. So in 2022, for the lamb export production, we expect to hit a new record of 307,000 tonnes ship weight, and that's on the back of increased slaughter numbers and historically high carcass weights, which has supported, obviously that larger amount of product being able to be shipped overseas. And although mutton is recovering slower than lambs, it's certainly improving quite rapidly, and we expect for mutton to see volumes out to 2024 back to levels that were more seen during 2018 and 19, which will be really positive. So there's a lot of growing global demand through through the US, China, and other emerging markets across the world, both established and emerging, for the Australian sheep meat product.
Well, Ripley Atkinson, thank you for a comprehensive wrap there. Appreciate that, and thanks for joining us on Flow.
Thanks very much, Ricky.